Let's take the individual company thing first, and then we'll get to the question of export embargoes second. What are the individual company factors that are causing these firms, blue chip companies like NVIDIA, like AMD, to stumble so?
Thank you, Tyler. I think the semiconductor industry has this habit of making you feel amazing and awesome for 3 years and really awful in the fourth year. And I think we are in that fourth year. And what's causing the awfulness this year is a weaker consumer, rising rates, and as you mentioned, additional China restrictions. In the specific case of AMD, I think the weakness is really the PC market, which is kind of the hangover we had once we came out of COVID. PC sales, which used to be 260 million a year from an industry perspective, went to 340 million. And now we are trying to get back to what used to be pre-COVID levels. And I think that's what hurt Intel, that's what hurt a lot of memory companies, and now it's AMD's turn. So it's not really a new data point, it's just hurting different companies at different times. But on the positive side, what I will say is that their data center business is holding up very well. It's up over 40% this year. We think they continue to take share from Intel going into next year. And I think the valuation at mid-teens PE for one of the leading compute franchises, I think still remains very compelling. So we continue to like the stock, but we understand that consumer weakness could be an overhang in the near term.
So the PC issue was really demand getting pulled forward by the pandemic, right? Or am I wrong? Which I often am.
No, I think that's really it. I think there was a lot of demand pulled forward. And in the first half of the year, as the industry was starting to come out of the shortages, a lot of inventory was built up. And now many of the customers, given the weak macro conditions, are just unwilling to hold even the level of inventory they would have had in a normal consumer period, because those customers are looking at all the inflationary headwinds in the US. They are looking at all the turmoil in Europe, and they're looking at all the lockdown situation in China. So that customer confidence is not there. And whenever the customer confidence is not there, it just forces them to bleed more inventory than they would have in normal times.
Like I said, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I beg your pardon.
No, I was just going to say that I think at the PC market, what is priced in now is a run rate that is now below pre-COVID levels. So from our perspective, I think a lot of the PC weakness is now priced into these stocks.
So before I get to NVIDIA, which fascinates me because it was such a darling in the market for so long, or maybe not for so long, but for a long time, I want to talk about those export controls. How big a headwind long-term is that likely to be for American producers?
Sure. So the first point I would say is that, look, the friction between the largest designer of semis, which is the US, and the largest buyer of semis, which is China, is not a good thing for a global industry. I understand and appreciate the reasons why we are seeing these restrictions. But we estimate that the effect is about 5 to 7% for the industry. And the reason is that a majority of the chips that are actually shipped to China are really for consumer applications, such as smartphones, such as PCs. They're not really for some pure, of course, we ship a lot to the supercomputing market, but that's a much smaller end market in China. If I take the global supercomputing and the global defense markets, it's not more than 10% of semiconductor demand. So even if I assume half of that is in China, the impact is about 5% or so. So I think the headline impact seems to be a lot more, but when you actually work through the numbers, the impact is concentrated into names such as, Intel, NVIDIA, a few of the semi-cap equipment names. But from a broader industry perspective, it's about a 5% headwind.
Very quickly, if I might, NVIDIA from golden child to problem child, is it an enduring problem child or is there a turnaround?
No, I think with NVIDIA, look, the key is that we are still in the first 15% of AI adoption in the data centers. And that's a technology that's going to have very wide usage, not just in cloud computing, but automotive, metaverse, in every part of our life. And this is a company that has the best solution out there. So we are still very bullish on NVIDIA. But like I said, the other half of the business, which is consumer, that's where the headwinds can be in the near term.
Vivek, fascinating conversation. Thank you. Vivek, Arya.